Hi guys, today from Warsaw. Today I will introduce to you a very special guest. This is probably the most courageous guy I know in the world, and not only courageous. This is a guy who not only thinks globally, but I think he thinks even outside the globe. This is
Thank you very much.
Tom Kozlowski, and
Hi.
Tom is a sky jumper, but not a regular sky jumper or skydiver as you would think. He's a very special skydiver. We will talk about that and stay till the end of this video because we will be talking about absolutely crazy, absolutely amazing things. So I've heard, Tom, you set some records, world records and also European records in skydiving. Can you tell us something about that?
Yeah, the record I did, it was 5 years ago. Me and two other skydivers, we jumped from 11 kilometers. It was the highest jump in Europe, an official European record, but it
So
was
11,000
11,000
meters.
meters.
This is the altitude
Of the
planes,
jets,
of the
Yes.
jet planes. Right?
So it was, in the same time, it was an official world record because we were the three people who jumped in the together from the hot air balloon from stratosphere. So it was, but the most important is this project for me. It was my fears. I was scared of this project. 2 years of the preparation was.
So what was the fear? Because you had a lot of
A lot of doubts.
skydives.
I had about 600 jumps before this project, but I haven't jumps like this. I haven't an experience in high altitude jumping. So I didn't know the jump.
Okay.
I was afraid of the imagination of the black picture I had in my head.
Yeah, on
So-
the other hand, you have on that altitude you have a temperature of minus 50 degrees
Minus 60.
Celsius.
It was
or
minus 60. We were prepared for everything, yes.
Okay.
But you cannot prepare your head if you are focusing only on the bad things which can happen. So it was in my head in the time. But just after this project, I wrote the book. It was the book. Accidentally, I wrote the book, The Story of a Thousand Fears. This is
I
the
have
title.
it here with me.
Because it was the thousand. I wrote here in this book all about my fears because it was the 2 years of being afraid and I noticed just after to release this book on the market that a lot of people, more than 1,000 people, wrote the letter for me and they said thank you for your fears, for sharing your fears, because they said the skydiver who jumped from stratosphere is afraid the same like me. So I understood that I need to use the potential in such a project, and I promised to myself that if I will do such a project again, some extreme project, I will use it for support the poorest and the weakest. So I decided to jump 48 times when I'll be 48 years old in one day, and every jump was dedicated to some sick people, so to some sick person with cancer, with brain tumor, with broken spine, or all the terrible disease exists on this planet. And I collect 200,000 zlotys and
So roughly $50,000.
$50,000. Yes, just using Facebook and the social medias, and I understood that this is quite good tool to support people. And 1 year later, it was in 2017, I jumped 100 times in one day, and I decided to raise the money for buying 100 wheelchairs for kids, because I found 100 kids who need a new wheelchair, specific wheelchair to the shape of their body, quite expensive one, but we done that project. I jumped 100 times and I understood that this is the way of my life. So I will, till the end of my days, when I will have the opportunity to jump or to do something extreme, I will use this opportunity to support people. And I think every one of us can be in such a particular circumstances to support others. You don't have to be a skydiver, you can be a counselor, or I don't know. For example, lawyers, they can support poor people.
Okay. How many jumps did you do in your life?
I did 1,600 jumps, but a few of these jumps was from high altitude. One from 11, and there was a couple jumps from 7,000 meters. But
Okay.
it was during the preparation for a big jump. We had such a jumps.
I learned that once, roughly once in 1,000 times, the parachute doesn't open. So how come you are still alive?
Because of other people, I had such a situation when my parachute didn't open, so I just cut this away. I use another one because we always have two, but this is the technology you have to rely on. This is the people who are packing the parachute. So if you are doing something big, you cannot do this only, you can take a decision that you will jump, but people who working with you must be the best. So
And you have to trust them, and you have to rely or depend on the quality of the work, right?
And the other thing is you have to understand that you have no influence on everything. If you want to do something and you want to be prepared in 100%, you have to know that you will be the second, because someone who will have 80% of sure
Okay.
will do that before you. So
Okay, so you have to take the risk if you want to be the first or if you want to be the best, right?
yes,
There is always this risk to take.
yeah, I think that in every part of our life we need to risk, because we never will be ready. The sense of feeling secure is just the sense. This is not the security. This is just the sense of
Right, right. This is you. You never. Yeah, you can go out, to the street and got
be
driven
hit by the
over,
car, yeah.
by the car. So there is no 100% security.
Never.
That's right.
It's only the feeling.
Okay, but tell me what drives you in these crazy enterprises, because we will be talking about the craziest one in a minute. But until then, already, I mean, jumping from 11,000 meters, this is crazy with these conditions there, and also trying to jump like 50 times or 100 times during one day. I mean, I could imagine maybe you could manage to jump once in half an hour, maybe in 1 hour. So
1
you
hour
come
something,
up
yeah.
maybe to 15, maybe to 30 jumps a day, but not 100. I mean, this is just crazy to even to think about that. I mean, what drives you in these undertakings?
Mostly the big sense under this project. I mean, supporting people, because 3 years ago, when my daughter was born, she almost died just after being born, and she's healthy and she's good. No one, there's a lot of people who are not the lucky as me that got healthy kids. Their kids have to sit on the wheelchair till the end of their days. So I think that it's my duty to support such a people. But if you've got some deeper sense in your action, then you can do everything. There is no limit. If you are doing and you believe in your project, so you can be the weakest person on earth and you will do it.
Okay. Well, tell me, you wrote this book. What is the message, the main message of that book? What would you like people to take away from that book, to learn from that book?
The main message is, if you are afraid of something, you have to understand that on the other side of the fear, there is something exciting and amazing. There you will find yourself as a strong person who've got the drive to do everything in life. But you have to go on the other side of the fear. It's the fear can be your guide, and we've got the approach that we are run away from the fear, we run away from pain. But this is the best direction. Then you can overcome yourself. There is no other way.
Okay, this is a great message, and this is partly also of my methodology to do the impossible. Let's come to your greatest project right now. I mean, this is absolutely amazing and crazy. I would call it crazy, because you decided to do the highest skydive, the highest jump in the history, and to jump from the space. Something that maybe Felix Baumgartner did, but you want to do it on even more extreme scale, or in a more extreme way. Tell
Yes,
us about that.
it's when people sometimes being afraid to do something is just a matter of decision. Open the door and go, because there will find another door and another and another. It was in my case when I did project 48 and then project 100 and understood that this is just the two machines to make money, and I can do that by skydiving, to support people, to collect the money, to support them, to be in the process of recovering healthy. And
because it's important to also to notice. I mean, you when you collect the money, you don't keep a part of that for yourself. It's like 100% goes to the people, and you make your money, you earn your money in a completely different business.
Yes, of course. But the idea and the rule is simple: 100% of the money which is going to the project is going out to the people we support. And I understood that this is just the mechanism to organize the money. And when I thought about the Felix Baumgartner jump, which was a huge campaign all around the world, and they earned the money for a big company, and 2 years later, Alan Eustace from Google jumped from 41 kilometer, and he's the world record holder. So he jumped quietly. No one knew about this. So I decided to combine these two projects and use his technology and jump from the highest altitude, from 45 kilometers, but make it noise all around the world to make people awareness, to build people awareness that we are part of the process and we are guilty for this, what is happening on the planet today with the climate. And it's not only about talking about this. It's about support people who are the victims of the climate change. I would like to collect the money to organize the system of support and build the shelters for them, the houses which will be built from the trash which is all around the planet, the plastic, the ship containers, and the sea containers, and this kind of stuff. So I would like to relocate the trash which is around us, and this is my goal: to collect the money, to give the house, the small house, for people who just lose the house because of the some disaster, typhoon or this kind of stuff, of the hurricane.
Okay. Most people who listen to us, they probably don't realize the scale of that problem and how many people your activity or your project may impact, on the long run. So maybe tell us about that. How many people are affected by, let's say, become refugees because of the climate change, or become homeless because of climate change, and become potential refugees.
Yes,
right?
yes. I found this, first information I found, it was from 2012. In that moment, in 2012, there was 34 million people was displaced because of the climate change. This is amazing. 34 million. This is our country. This is average country here in Europe. So in 2050 there will be 250 million people displaced.
So like the population of European Union.
This is
or United
30-40%. This is amazing. Yeah, United States. This is amazing. There's such a big number of people can be homeless. So I would like to support at least a small part of those people. But there is kids, there's people who've got all the disease and the problems. So we are angry when, and when we've got the problem with the energy or with the TV or we have no fuel to the car, and those people have no place to live. So this is my goal. I'm ready to sacrifice my life and to jump from this altitude and to have this huge speed, 1.45 Mach. So this is 1,700 kilometers per hour. But I'm ready to do that.
So Mach, people may not understand that. This means that you are faster than the sound. Right?
Yes, yeah.
The speed
it will be a
of
sonic speed. Yes, and I would like to build this campaign to make people to understand that we've got the impact on people who are on the other side of the globe, because this is a small dot in the darkness of space, and we live here and we have no possibility to go to the other side of the solar system. No, we have to stay here.
Okay, when you talk about that, this sounds, I mean, for most people, right, in my audience and for me also, it sounds so huge. I mean, so crazy, this undertaking. And you are not a billionaire, you know, to spend money on that. I mean, you are a guy who just, from the grassroots, wants to create a grassroots movement and to build that from bottom up. And tell me, because for most people it may sound impossible, right? And my audience considers me as an expert in doing impossible things. What is your notion of the impossible, or what is possible, what is impossible? How do you approach that, and how do you make yourself think about that to make it possible, or to do something about
Yes, like Don Lasorda said, that the difference between the possible and the impossible lays in the man's determination. So it's just depend on us. But you know what I thought about the person, to looking for the person who did something like this, who was just a normal, regular guy, and try to do something with the global impact. So it was Lech Wałęsa, the ex-president of Poland and the Nobel Peace Prize winner, and he
so
just
the guy who transformed like half of the Europe from countries to
democracy like we have
system,
today.
right?
We can talk because of him, and he was the one, and he said, okay, I will overcome the communism. You know, this is what I want to do is nothing. This is a piece of cake. He was one against the communistic system. So this is the big battle and big fight, and this is impossible thing, and he did. So I thought to myself, maybe I will ask him to be the patron of the project. And when I said to my friends and to people that I would like to organize the meeting with President Lech Wałęsa, they laughing at me. So I said, okay, I'm going my way and I will do that. And 2 months later, I was in his office and he decided to be the patron of the project, and he wrote the letter, and it will open the door in United States and in other countries. But by this, Prime Minister, Professor Jerzy Buzek, who was the head of the European Parliament, decided to join the project, and he spoke with the Secretary General of United Nations about the project. And United Nations will join the project as a partner because they've got the knowledge. Where are the people who need the support? They know who. They know how to deliver the houses all around the planet. So I need the big partners. But I'm very happy that such a partners are with me. I spoke with Richard Gere one week ago about the project, and I asked him to be ambassador of it. But this is not only the actors, then the musicians, because I would like to organize the concert dedicated to the project. But the most important in this project are people like me, just a normal, average people who live somewhere, and they are not important because every million is built from the small coins, and we are such a coins. Every one of us can take one small decision, one small step, and we can make it together.
Right, absolutely. You told me before the interview that you had background as a rescuer, right? You call it mountain rescuer?
I was the mountain rescue team member for 17 years, and I was 400 times on the rescue operation. So this is, then you can see that we can do a lot of things to save someone's life or to survive and someone will die, because I was 7 times in the situation when we couldn't rescue someone. This is unbelievable feeling, when your friend is dying in the action and you can do nothing. But I understood that such a teams, when I was a member, can rise again. So it means that the fail, the mistake, the problems, the fear, the weaknesses is the part of your life. If you will do everything to don't have it, it means that you stay at home.
Right. If you want to avoid it, you would need to not do anything and just.
You will fail many times. There is no big people with a small past.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. But I think the role of a leader in such a situation is important, right? And this is a channel about also about business, about leadership in business. And I think you can learn a lot from this crisis, from these let's say emergency situations. What would be the three pieces of advice you would give to a leader? How to behave in such a situation, or how to lead in a team in a difficult situation?
You know, when I'm using my experience in the rescue team, being the member of the team, or being the instructor, or the leader of the rescue operation, and the same as a psychologist working with the teams, and the skydiver in the teams as well. So I think that the most important, that there are two things: respect and the truth. If you will, every one of us can be weak. Every one of us can have a weaker day. So we have to tell the truth, because if we will hide some problems, it can be the small piece which will remove the huge avalanche. So respect for people and the truth is really, really important. And of course, important is to care about my own development. I cannot lay on the other only. You know, if I'll be in the group of the best people, I still will be the same person. So I have to work about myself, and you know, it's, and the other thing is
you need to grow yourself in order to be able to grow others.
Yeah,
right? Or to
that's
develop others.
yeah. If you will be the weakest part of the team, be happy, because there is a great adventure to do, and you can be a, you know, people sometimes don't want to join the team of the best people because they want to be to have that feeling that they are the weakest of them. But it's better to have the worst house on the best street than the best house on the worst street.
Right.
Yeah, so yeah, if you are with someone,
it's always better to catch up instead of being caught up.
Yeah, this is the one. And yes, if you've got something who's better, go follow. You don't have to be the best.
Okay, so you are definitely for me an authority as far as fear is concerned, as overcoming fear. What would be the advice you would give to the people who want to overcome their fears and act in face of fears?
You know,
despite the fears.
If you've got the fears, be happy that you've got one, because on the other side of the fear there is something great, as I said, and this is the direction you should go, because the pain, the fear there is a reason that this exists, because it makes us to understand that there is something danger, or there is something to do, there's something to develop. So we have to use it, and if your approach is that you want to do everything to don't feel it, so it can kill you, because we need it. We just need it. We couldn't survive on this planet without fear and pain. This is, if we're wearing a jacket in the winter, it's because it's cold. So
right.
This is that the cold.
So you need the fear in order to realize where the dangers are and to protect yourself against them, right?
Yeah. Yes,
and to prepare yourself for that.
And the other thing of fear is that if you want to overcome yourself and you want to feel the satisfaction that you did, so it must be in the direction of the fear. And if you think that you will change your life, or you will do everything, on the soft way, without
effort,
without the stones on it. So it means doing nothing. Yeah? So, in my opinion, be happy that you feel it, because there is something, you've got the direction, you know what to do, or you know where to go, and just you can sit and think, what should I do to overcome the fears?
Okay, wonderful. Tell me, your project, this sky jump from 45,000 meters, this is amazing stuff, global, a huge undertaking. What are the major challenges you are facing right now, and where do you need support, or what would help you right now? Because I have some audience, and I hope this word will spread in thousands, 10,000, maybe hundreds of thousands views, and maybe there are people who certainly there are people who want to support you, who want to join, who want to help you. Where do you need support?
When I'm trying to meet someone, is you. I met hundreds of people, and the biggest problem is when I'm trying to get someone who's really busy, like you, and I'm writing, please meet me and let's talk. They said, no, give me the reason you want to meet me, or write the request you have, and then I will tell you yes or no. So the most important is for me I'm looking for people with the open mind to meet and talk, because when I am talking with someone, we will find hundreds of ideas to develop the project. Dalai Lama said, if you will ask the question, you will get the answer. If you will listen to people, you will know everything. So this is something like this. Yeah? So I have not a request to you, give me $5 or pay for a house, because of course it will be soon. I am looking for people who've got the open minds, and they can, for example, involve the business, the company, the group of friends to do something. For example, something like I want to do 5 minutes challenge. I'll be skydive for 5 minutes almost. You can do the same. You can do for 5 minutes run with the heavy rucksack. You can swim in the cold water. You cannot use the power in 5 minutes. You can support old person in the same time, and you can put this to the social media. I said, hey, I'm skydiving on my way with this guy. I am supporting the planet, I'm supporting the people. I want people to know about project Jump for the Planet, because this is the name of the project. And if we will be together, I will jump, you will do your steps, so then we can make a noise about the project, and we can involve other people to support the project. Maybe someone will call me, I've got the idea, let's do this part of it, or I've got the idea for transport. So I had the situation when one girl came to me after my speech, and she said, my boyfriend is working as an architect, call him and let's talk to him. I said, why? But 1 week later she met me in the bank and she took my number, and now those people, the architects, organize the global competition for the architects to looking for the best solution for these houses. So this is amazing. I couldn't create something.
So if
like
somebody has an idea that he wants to, of course, to realize, you need to do something about that, not just voice an idea and say, okay, I have a great idea. Now, if somebody from the audience wants really to do something about that, to put you in contact with somebody who could help, or how to develop that project and so on, where can he find you, and how can he contact you?
You can find me on address jumpfortheplanet.com, and there is a link to Facebook and to Instagram. It is not that difficult to find me, and then just write an email to me or some message on Facebook and let's talk about this, because I'm just a common person. So if someone will join me with his or she's idea, this is the way to support millions of people and save the millions of lives maybe on this planet. So yes, we can do that together. I can jump by myself and they give the idea, but your ideas are great, the greatest. So let's do that together. Jumpfortheplanet.com.
Jumpfortheplanet.com. Let's jump together. Tom, thanks so much.
Thank you very much
for being here with me. It's a great pleasure, great honor.
Thank you.
I hope I could give you some marketing support, and I hope I will be able to help you more with that project, because this is really something worthwhile. This is a project, a great project, who potentially can impact millions and maybe tens of millions of people, and this is something that we should support. I wish you a lot of success.
Thank you very much.
Let's do it together. That's it for today, guys from Warsaw. I wish you a fantastic day. Let's do something extraordinary today.